All right, so in the last video, we were going through and we were defining what the actual problem that we are having is with gross domestic product. So we know that as we go through time, prices are changing. Some are going up, some are going down. Quantities are changing. Some are going up, some are going down. And that clearly goes in and messes with the number that we have for gross domestic product. So what we have decided to do is to go in to get a unbiased measure is just to go in and measure how many physical goods and services did we actually produce. But the only way you can get at that number is to go in and hold prices constant over time and then simply let quantities go in and change year to year. So it's the quantity alone that we want to go in and we want to measure. So the question is, how do we go in and how do we do that? And that's what this video is going to be dedicated to. So this time around, we're going to the second one down here, and we're going to develop the fix, which is to go in and develop what we call a price index that will go in and actually measure the changes in prices in the economy. Now, when you go in and you look at what we call a price index of any kind is going in and measuring how much average prices have changed over time. And in all honesty, if you go to any four-year university, the economics department, the statistics department, they've all gotten together, tried to reinvent the wheel on a more efficient way, a more accurate way, a quicker way, whatever it might be, to go in and measure these changes in average prices. And some of them are actually very, very good at what they do. But as it turns out, the only one that we really care about is the one that the government goes in and measures, and that is what is known as the Consumer Price Index, or from now on we'll know it as the CPI. So the Consumer Price Index measures the change in the average level of prices of a typical market basket of goods and services bought by a typical urban household. Guys, on a side note, when you have a government definition that has a lot of typicals in it, typically you're going to be in trouble before you ever get started. And well, as it turns out, there are some problems with the Consumer Price Index that we will talk about a little bit later. But studies have shown year after year that the Consumer Price Index actually does a very good job of going out and looking at these changes in prices. So the government agency that is responsible for measuring the Consumer Price Index is the Bureau of Labor Statistics, or from now on we'll know them as the BLS. The Bureau of Labor Statistics is a subgroup of the Department of Labor, and we're actually going to be hearing about them several times throughout the course of not only talking about prices, but going in and talking about unemployment as well. They are very, very busy people. Now, what ends up happening is the Bureau of Labor Statistics goes out and they conduct a comprehensive survey about every 10 years of consumption behavior. And so when they go in and they do these studies, it's kind of like going out and doing the Nielsen surveys, where they ask you what do you watch on TV and at what time did you watch it, and so on and so forth. They do exactly the same thing with consumption. And so they'll have approximately 10,000 people go out for 2 weeks, and they will have them keep track on everything they consume for that 2 weeks, in what quantities, in what venue did they consume it. In other words, fast food, sit down, restaurant, what have you. And then they will go in and ask about the price that they paid as well. And so after they get done going through a 2-year cycle of these folks doing these surveys, they will come up with what we call the market basket. And that market basket is very extensive. It consists of 200 major categories, and it has over 90,000 different items that are included in this market basket. Just to give you some idea, these are some of the larger items. Again, there are over 200 major categories. But any food and beverages, housing, any clothing that you buy, transportation costs, medical care, what have you, all of this is going to end up in this market basket by the time it's all said and done. And so the very basic idea of going out and doing this is to say, look, let's say the BLS goes out. And what I want you to understand is when we're talking about a market basket, the market basket consists of two things. It is the item that people go in and consume, and it is the quantity in which they consume it. So that part of it right there is what we call the market basket. Now, when the Bureau of Labor Statistics gets done with this, there's going to be some 90,000 items in this market basket, and there's going to be 90,000 quantities to go along with it. So that entire thing is what we call the market basket, and that's updated roughly about every 10 years. The way the market basket is calculated goes something like this. So let's just say, and we're going to keep the numbers simple, let's go out and say that the Bureau of Labor Statistics wants to know what does this market basket cost in January of the year 2020. So what they will do is they will go in and they will send representatives throughout the entire United States. They'll go into grocery stores, they'll go into box stores, like Dillon's and Walmart and pardon me, Home Depot and Lowe's and places like that, and they will gather prices on all 90,000 items across the United States. Then what they will do is they will go in, they will plug that all into their computers, and then their computers will take quantity times price, quantity times price, and then they'll add all of that up, price times quantity, price times quantity. And let's just say, for an example, that this market basket in these prices are going to cost, let's keep the number simple, $1,000 in the year January of 2020. All right, so that gives us our place to start. Then the Bureau of Labor Statistics will go out and they will gather prices again on all 90,000 goods and services in February of the year 2020. So they will go back out, they'll go to different stores, they'll go to different areas of the country because they want a good broad survey of what these prices are. And they will go in, they'll use their scanners, and again, all across the country, they will gather prices on all 90,000 of these goods and services. So then they will take their quantity, they will multiply it by the new price, and let's say when they get done, this same market basket in February of 2020, let's say will now cost $1,020.10. And then you're correct. In March of 2020, they will go out and they will do exactly the same thing again. So by going out and doing this, they will be able to track these prices over time, and then they will be able to tell how much these prices are actually changing. So that's the very basic idea of what the Bureau of Labor Statistics does. So what I want you to do is let's go down just a couple of slides. I actually have this on your Blackboard page. It's listed under Measuring the Cost of Living, a worksheet. And so I want you to go ahead and I want you to download that and work on it on your own. You will have to hand this in, and I have a Dropbox that is located on your course shell as well. But here's the very basic idea of how the BLS goes in and calculates the Consumer Price Index. All right, first of all, I've given you the actual, again, definition of the Consumer Price Index and a description of it. Now, as it turns out, there are 6 different steps to going in and actually calculating the consumer price index. The first, and maybe even the most important step in doing this entire thing, is going in and choosing what we call the base year. So the base year is the year that prices are held constant. So the base year is the year prices are held constant. Now, that's a very important thing to remember because the base year is what we are going to be constantly referring back to be able to go in and understand exactly what these numbers mean. Now, I want you to understand any year can be a base year. Some typical base years are 1967, 1984, 2001, and so on. So those are just typical ones that you normally see. Because it is so widespread, the one that we are going to use in ours is going to be when we do our other homework, we're going to be using 1984 because the numbers are readily available. But you need, again, to know exactly what your base year is. And that's the first thing you want to go in and look for. So in the example that that we're going to be doing here, it says if you go in and you see, let's say that 1987 is equal to 100, that means that 1987 is your base year. So whatever year is set equal to 100, that is the year that your prices are being held constant. All right, now I'll explain why we set it equal to 100 just a little bit later. It actually comes out of the formula that we're going to be using. But that's the first thing that you want to look for. All right, the second thing you want to do is to go in and do what we call fix the market basket. So you want to go out and you want to do your comprehensive consumer survey. So it's kind of what I tried to show you up here. So the comprehensive consumer survey is going to show you the items and the quantities that are going to be in your market basket. Now, we're going to keep this simple. So in our particular case, our market basket consists of 4 hot dogs, and it's going to consist of 25 gallons of gasoline. All right. Step number 3 is then to go in and gather prices on each one of those goods. So again, just like I did up here, now the Bureau of Labor Statistics actually gathers prices by the month. We are going to do it by the year. The concept is the same, only it's just a little bit easier for us to deal in years than it is to go in and deal with the monthly data. So we are going to assume that we have gone out as the Bureau of Labor Statistics and we have now gathered our prices for gasoline and hot dogs across the country. All right, the next thing you want to do is step number 4, and that's to go in and compute the cost of the market basket. So that is going in and taking the price of the good times the quantity of the good and then adding it all up, and that's going to give you the cost of that market basket. All right, step number 5, and we'll do this in just a moment, is to go in and calculate the number for the consumer price index itself, the actual value of the index. And then the last part is to actually go in and interpret what exactly does this consumer price index mean? What does this number actually tell us? All right, so here's what I want you to do. I'm going to go do the first step for you, and then I want you to go through and finish it up, take a picture of it, and then submit it in the Dropbox. All right, so step number 1, I have gone in and I have chosen 2000 to be our base year. for no apparently good reason, but that's what my fingers typed on this paper. So we now know in this particular example, prices are being held constant as if we are in the year 2000. All right, step number 2, we already know that we have our market basket, which is going to be 4 hot dogs and 25 gallons of gasoline. All right, step number 3, I've assumed we have gone out for the year 2000, 2001, and 2002, and we've gathered our prices for hot dogs and for gasoline. So according to this, in the year 2000, each hot dog cost on average $1, and gasoline cost 95 cents a gallon. In the year 2001, hot dogs cost $2, gasoline cost $1.10, and by the time we got to 2002, hot dogs were $3 a piece, and gasoline was $1.50 a gallon. Okay, so then step number 4 is to go in and compute the cost of the market basket. So what you notice here is that in the year 2000, so this is the data that we're going to be using right here for the year 2000. So the price of hot dogs was $1 per hot dog, and we consumed 4 hot dogs. So 1 times 4 is going to give us $4 worth of hot dogs. And then we consumed 25 gallons of gasoline. 25 gallons of gasoline. And each gallon of gasoline we said was going to cost us 95 cents per gallon. So 25 gallons times your 95 cents per gallon is going to give us $23.75 worth of gasoline. All right, so you go in and you add those two numbers together. So this market basket in the year 2000, using these prices, will cost us $27.75. Okay, so what I want you to do to start is to go in and calculate the cost of the market basket in the year 2000, divided and calculate the cost of the market basket in the year 2002, and then fill those numbers in over here, and then we will go in and we will continue this video. Okay, so hopefully you now have that done, and let's go in and let's check the results that we have. Let me get rid of some of these lines here. All right, so according to this then, in the year 2001, it was $2 per hot dog, and we consumed 4 hot dogs, so that's $8 worth of hot dogs. $1.10 per gallon of gasoline, multiplied by 25 gallons. So that gave us $27.50 worth of gasoline. So if you do 27.5 plus 8, the cost of the market basket in 2001 is going to be $35.50. All right, everybody good so far? All right, same thing for the following year. Again, let me get rid of a little bit of this. If we go in and we have $3 per hot dog and 4 hot dogs, so that's $12 worth of hot dogs. $1.50 per gallon of gasoline multiplied by 25 gallons is going to give us some $37.50 worth of gasoline. So 37.5 plus your 12, so the market basket in 2002 will now cost us $49.50. Okay, so that part of it's pretty easy. Just kind of keep your numbers straight. And then, now that we have the cost of the market basket, then step number 5 is to go in and actually compute the value for the consumer price index. All right, so here's how we're going to do this. If we go back up a little bit, we're going to find the how to calculate the consumer price index itself. So the formula for the consumer price index is going to be the cost of the market basket in your current period, that is what you are calculating for, divided by the cost of the market basket in your base year multiplied by 100. Okay, so if we take that idea down here, and of course there's the formula again. If we take that idea down here, let's go in and let's compute the consumer price index for the year 2000. All right, now for the first one, I'm going to go in and I'm going to write the entire formula out so you can see where the numbers came from. So according to this, the consumer price index in your current period, which is the year 2000, that's what we're calculating for, is equal to the cost of the market basket in your current period, which is the year 2000, that's what we're calculating for, divided by the cost of the market basket in your base year. Now remember up here at the top, our base year was the year 2000, so we're going to put that in as well. And then we are going to go in and we are going to multiply it by 100. So to calculate the cost of the market basket in the year 2000, this would be the formula that you would use. All right, so the consumer price index in the year 2000 would be equal to the cost of the market basket in the current period, which is the year 2000. So that's $27.75, divided by the cost of the market basket in your base year. Well, remember, your base year is 2000, so the cost of the market basket in 2000 was also $27.75 multiplied by 100. All right, so clearly 27.75 divided by 27.75 is 1, multiplied by 100. So your consumer price index for the year 2000 is going to be simply equal to the number 100. All right, that is your CPI. I want you to note there are no, there are no units for the consumer price index. So in other words, the consumer price index is not a dollar value, so don't tell me it's $100, and it is not a percentage. So there are no units behind that whatsoever. And also, I'm going to tell you it is not a rate of change. I'm going to go ahead and put that on here before I forget about it. And I'll go back and explain exactly what that means just a little bit later. So if I ask you, what is the Consumer Price Index for the year 2000, you would simply tell me the number 100. All right. So what I want you to do is to pause the video at this point, and I want you to go in and I want you to calculate the Consumer Price Index for 2001 and the Consumer Price Index for 2002. All right, now that you've done that, we want to go in and I just want you to check your answers with me real quick. According to this then, if we go in and we want the Consumer Price Index for the year 2001. So that would be the cost of the market basket in 2001 divided by the cost of the market basket in your base year, which is still 2000, multiplied by 100. Okay, so the cost of the market basket in 2001, we said it actually cost us $35.50. So $35.50 divided by the cost of the market basket in our base year, which clearly hasn't changed. So that's $27.75 multiplied by 100. So if you plug that into your calculator, the Consumer Price Index for 2001 will be 35.5 divided by 27.75, multiply it by 100, and that's going to give you a number of 127.93. All right, when you're going in and you're doing your Consumer Price Index numbers, always round it to the second digit. We didn't get to on the first one because it came out to a whole number. But if it comes out to be a decimal number, which most of them will, go ahead and round it to the second digit. So in your calculator, it would have come out to be 127.9279. So round it to the second digit, and that would round that up to 0.93. Okay. So just to check your answer on the last one, so the Consumer Price Index for 2002 will be the cost of the market basket in 2002 divided by the cost of the market basket in your base year, which again is 2000, multiplied by 100. All right. So the cost of the market basket in 2002, we said was $49.50. So $49.50 divided by the cost of the market basket in your base year, which is still $27.75, multiplied by 100. So the Consumer Price Index in 2002 is going to be equal to, all right, let me get my calculator here. So we have 49.5 divided by 27.75 multiplied by 100. And if you round, you should come up with 178.38. 178.38. Again, round to the second digit. So those would be your numbers for the Consumer Price Index. All right. Now, the interpretation of the Consumer Price Index. This is always the very last part that you're going to do. And this is where we have to remind ourselves that the year 2000 was going to be our base year. So let me put that back up here. So the year 2000 is going to be equal to 100. All right. First things first, I do want you to note, we went in and we set the base year equal to 100. Well, the reason why is that that's the way the equation actually works itself out. So your consumer price index in the year 2000 is in fact equal to 100. All right. Now, that being said, look at the consumer price index then, the consumer price index number for 2001. What this value says is if the market basket cost us $100 in the year 2000, the same market basket will now cost us $127.93 in 2001. Let me say that again. If the market basket would have cost us $100 in the year 2000, the same market basket will now cost us $127.93 in the year 2001. So to calculate how much average prices have increased, you want to go in and you want to take your value for the consumer price index and you want to subtract 100. And that will convert it into a percentage change. All right. So in other words, in this particular case, our consumer price index was 127.93 minus 100. So according to this then, average prices have increased 27.93% from 2000 to the year 2001. All right, you do the same thing down here. If I ask you how much have average prices increased from the year 2000 to the year 2002, you would take your consumer price index of 178.38, subtract 100, and you would come up with 87.38%. So average prices have increased 87.38% from 2000 to 2002. So that's simply how you go in and take your consumer price index and interpret how much those average prices have changed from your base to your current year. All right. Now, there is one more thing that I want you to, I said I was going to come back to before I forgot it. This part right here, that the consumer price index is not a rate of change. Here's what I mean by that. When you go in and you look at this number down here, and you say that average prices have increased 27.93% from 2000 to the year 2001. So what that says is if I bought the basket in 2000 and I buy it now in 2001, it'll cost me 27.93% more than what it did. All right. Now that's only 1 year. But let's go down to this year right here. So I want you to listen to these two statements to see if you can hear the difference. Are you ready? Statement number 1. Average prices have increased 78.38% from 2000 to the year 2002. Okay. Statement number 2. Average prices have increased 78.38% per year from 2000 to the year 2002. Okay, did you hear the difference? The second statement is implying that average prices are increasing at this rate every year. And that is not what the CPI is saying. The CPI says if you bought that market basket in the year 2000 and you buy the same market basket in the year 2002, it will now cost you $78.40 more than what it did in the year 2000. So that's what we mean by it is not a rate, it is not a per year change. It is only applicable from the base year. All right, so very good. Keep this in mind. If you have to, look it over again, see where I plugged my numbers in and so on. I'll be putting up another worksheet again online called Measuring the Cost of Living. I want you to rework the numbers, reinterpret the numbers, take a picture of it, and then go ahead and submit it in the homework for video 2 Dropbox. If you have any questions, let me know.